What's going on YouTube? My name is FG3000. I'm back in the place to be and welcome back to Exos Heroes. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the newest Golden Fate Core added to the game, Millennial Star April, and of course answering the question, FG, should I be summoning on Golden Fate Core April? Now, my advice when it comes to summoning inside Exos Heroes has been the same since global launch. I feel like, if you're not a spender, you're not a whale, you should not be summoning on Black Fate Cores. You should be taking these weeks as the Black Fate Cores are released into the game to save up your zest, to farm, to build up those resources. That way, when Golden Fate Core units drop, the units that are actually game changing, you go deep, real deep inside Golden Fate Cores. And while you're summoning for those Golden Fate Cores, you're gonna on accident pick up these other units, right? These are gonna just happen over time. Don't fret, don't worry about it. Don't be trying to burn your zest on characters that are not Golden Fate Cores, in my opinion, if you are not a spender. If you're a spender, if you're a whale, and you want to collect characters for like waifu and husbando purposes, you do you. But if you're free to play, you really need to be careful with your zest. And I feel like the very best advice I can give you is to always go deep, real deep, inside Golden Fate Cores. Except in times when you shouldn't, all right? Except in times when you shouldn't. So let's talk about April. This will all make sense once we do a quick little history lesson for all my new Exos Heroes players, right? So Golden Fate Cores are the highest rarity in the game. They are the strongest meta-changing units in the game, and this is the reason why I say you should always go deep for them. However, not all Golden Fate Cores are created equal. And I'm not just talking about their overall power and things of that nature. I'm talking about some Golden Fate Cores just inherently are not created equal. So let's go ahead and use Talia as an example. This is the Time Walker Fate Core theme that we just left. So Talia. Talia is what I call a feature complete Golden Fate Core. That means on her own, she can fulfill every aspect of her kit without a setup and without any other additional heroes on the board. She can literally do everything by herself. She don't need no man. Now on the flip side of that, you have a unit like Shell. So Shell does actually gain benefit if you have a Janai on the board, right? So if you have a Janai in your team that can apply the charm mark, she actually gets much better. However, she is not useless without Janai. So she's good by herself. She's even better with Janai. So quick recap, right? You got Talia, strong by herself. She don't need no heroes, no man. Her entire kit is feature complete by herself. And then you have Shell, who's good by herself, but even better with Janai, right? You guys see where I'm going if you're a veteran, but I gotta give you one more example so this makes sense. So let's go over here to the Summer Festa units. Once again, Iris, she's exactly like Talia. By herself, she can fulfill every aspect of her kit. She doesn't need any setup. She doesn't need any other heroes on the board. And then you have Valentina. Now I see you new players out there trying to jump ahead. You're in the back of the classroom trying to raise your hand. Put your hand down, all right? You don't know the answer to this question if you're brand new. So you might want to say that Valentina is like Shell, where she's good by herself, even better with King Shu. What it do? No, that's not true. She's actually pretty bad by herself, really good with King Shu. So without King Shu on the board, she's definitely not Fate Core Gold level. She's not even Black level, I would say. Her kit without King Shu is just slightly above her Fated unit rarity. The only thing she brings to the fight is Flap Flap and Summer's Blessing without King Shu on the board, which aren't terrible passives, but for a Golden Fate Core, it's booty. It's not good at all. She does not stack up to any other Golden Fate Core in the game thus far without King Shu. Now, if she has a King Shu on the board and a King Shu's out there applying Fear of the Abyss mark, Valentina transforms to a unit that is pretty much booty without Shu, to a character that if she gets a turn, you almost have completely lost. Like if a Valentina hits you with a King Shu applied on the board, you pretty much almost have lost the game. That's how good Valentina is. So she goes from booty without Shu to really, really good with Shu. All right, so last recap. You got characters like Talia and Iris that are really good by themselves. You have characters like Shell, for example, that can, do good by themselves, but can do even better if they have setups. I think Rara also fits into that category, where Rara is really, really good, but she's even better with Bathory. So where does that leave April? So in my opinion, April is more so in the Valentina category. Not as bad as Valentina, but still in that category, right? So if you just take a look at her basic kit without the setup of Rachel and Dishearten, her skill 1 is an AoE damage. Her skill 2 is a heal that also has a cleanse with an additional special effect, which is nice. Like I said, I do think she's like a slightly higher category than Valentina, but still in that category. But the problem lies is that the very best parts about April have to be activated with Rachel, right? So Sound Fever, this is going to increase the attack speed of all your back row allies by 5 if your enemies are disheartened. Right? So that is something that you definitely want to have activated. So fan service is this: disheartened front row enemies are going to receive an additional 40% damage, and that damage is applied as piercing, which ignores a bit of their defense as well. So this is the reason, this is the main primary reason you would bring April to the field. You're not going to bring her for a little star, making her tankier and making her live longer is okay, but that's not a reason to burn all your zest on a golden fake core. Encore stage, which heals all your allies upon dying. Once again, it's not a bad ability, but if there's no Rachel on the board, I'm just gonna kill your April last, because I know your April is completely kind of worthless, right? So that's not even gonna be a thing that's gonna happen. And then of course, Sound Fever also requires Dishearten. So when it comes to April and you're trying to decide, should you go deep real deep inside April, you're gonna have to ask yourself a few questions. So number 1, do you even like Rachel? Do you like her design? I think that's important for me at least. And number 2, do you have a Rachel? Right? Do you have a Rachel that you have a pretty decent investment in? I don't think you need to go completely balls to the wall with your Rachel, because the only thing you need to do is apply Dishearten to the front line primarily. If you're not familiar with what Dishearten does, basically if Rachel has a higher attack value than the enemies, they get disheartened. So you don't have to go really balls to the wall deep on your Rachel when it comes to investment. He just has to have a higher attack value than the enemy's front line. So that should be pretty easy to pull off, but that's still gonna require a pretty decent investment, right? You're gonna have to have your Rachel's gear decked out. You're gonna have to have him awaken. You're gonna have to make sure that he has a pretty decent awakened weapon. You're probably, at that point, you're probably gonna have to do, unleash potential in Rachel. And if you've already gone that far, you're also gonna go deep inside his signature force. So think about how much investment that is just for April, right? At least 28 pulls to guarantee pity. You have to own a Rachel. You have to have a Rachel that has a pretty decent investment in, a Rachel with good gear, a Rachel with good weapons, a Rachel that probably has, a good degree of unleashed potential involved. And of course, if you've gone that far, why wouldn't you be investing in his signature force? Which brings the next level. If you've already done all that for Rachel and you've already invested in his signature force, why would you not start taking a look at units that live inside of his nation? Now, you don't have to do it per se. It's not a hard requirement that you have to use, Rachel's co-nation members. But if you've already gone that deep and you're already invested in his signature force, why wouldn't you take a look at some of these units inside of his nation? Like, they're not bad. You got First Guardian Zeon if you own him. You have Zeon, who's about to be awakening in his core memory. Yungen, who's actually pretty good. Baraka's pretty good. You just picked up April. So I'm not saying this is bad. I'm not trying to deter you from going real deep inside April. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand that April, for the lack of the better word, I'm just going to say the word baggage. April comes with a lot of baggage if you decide to go deep for her, right? You got to grab April. You have to have a decently invested Rachel, which means you're probably going to unleash his potential. If you're burning orbs to unleash his potential, you're probably going to go in his signature force, which means you're probably going to start using units out of his nation. If that's all okay with you, then go deep inside April. She's a fantastic unit. And like I said, she's literally designed right now to bust the meta. So meta breakers are always units that I say go deep for. So enjoy your Rachel. Just be clear that this investment is not just getting the character and being done. There's still more work you have to be willing to do and willing to invest in, and picking a general and picking a nation is a really big decision here in Exos Heroes. So just keep that in mind if that's the character you're going deep for, right? So that is gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Once again, my name is FG3000. I am still, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do with April. If you want to know if I'm gonna be summoning, I don't really know, because getting generals, you know, it's not an easy thing to do, right? You know, buying the things out of the old store, it takes a good amount of time to do, and you should be very focused in this. And right now, what I've been doing, I've been buying Janai, right? So I'm already pretty decked out in Shu. I'm starting to kind of diversify my portfolio in a Roth IRA and trying to get myself a little bit of Janai. I don't have the capital and the liquidity to invest in Rachel right now. So me going deep in Rachel would not be a good move. I might still do it just for the sake of the YouTube, but there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, my name is FG3000. I thank you a ton for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm not gonna be talking about the core raid because it's just a core raid. You just grind it, you get goodies, and call it a day. But what I will do for the sake of the YouTube, because I haven't seen it on Reddit yet, all right, so the generals that are in the core raid shop, Garf is gonna be one of them. I don't know who the other one is, because I haven't seen it on Reddit yet. Who is the other general? Is it just Garf? And Bathory. So Garf and Bathory are going to be the generals inside the core raid shop. My advice when it comes to this, do what I do. If you have Zest to burn, reset the shop, get the generals, and buy them out ASAP. So there you go. Now I'm actually done, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.